remain standing for the invocation. Dear God, as always, we thank you for bringing us together safely this evening and for the many blessings we enjoy. Please wrap your arms around the family of Stan Dostotny and give them comfort in a life well lived and knowing he made the city of Hammond a better place to live through his many years of dedicated service. Keep our hearts open to kindness and understanding in all matters. In your holy name, amen. Ready, Clerk Golick?
All set.
Roll call, Clerk, please.
Markovich.
Here.
Spitali.
Here.
Kalwinski. Torres.
Here.
Higgs.
Here.
Emerson.
Here.
Warple.
Here.
Rakels.
Here.
Linez.
Here. Let the record reflect 8 present, 1 absent. Moving on to reading of the minutes.
Madam President,
Yes, Councilman Spitali.
motion to accept the minutes from January 22nd, 2018.
Second.
Motion by Councilman Spitali, second by Councilman Emerson for approval of the minutes from January 22nd, 2018. Any discussion? Any discussion? Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Moving on to approval of claims.
Madam Chair Lady,
Yes, Councilman Markovich.
move for approval of claims for January 17th through February 7th for the meeting of February 12th, 2018. Beginning with claims dated 1/19/18 and ending with claims dated 2/7/18. Claim number 530 through claim 1007 for a total of $11,249,031.92. I so move.
Second.
Motion by Councilman Markovich, second by Councilman Higgs for approval of claims from February 7th through February 12th, 2018. Any discussion?
Madam President,
Yes, Councilman Higgs.
I'd like a copy of claims 820 to 824 for We Care from the Heart. That's the only question I have.
So you want a copy of that after approval?
Certainly, that's fine.
Thank you. Any other discussion? Any discussion? Any discussion? Clerk Golick, roll call vote, please.
Markovich.
Yes.
Spitali.
Yes,
Kalwinski. Torres.
Yes.
Higgs.
Yes.
Emerson.
Yes.
Warple.
Yes.
Rakels.
Yes.
Linez.
Yes. Claims pass from January 17th through February 7th, 2018. Moving on to committee reports.
Communications.
Pardon me?
Communications.
Oh, communications. I am so sorry. Well, actually, public hearings, there are none. Boy, I'm really skipping ahead. Communications.
Madam President.
Communications. Yes, Councilman Higgs.
I would like to personally thank those individuals who helped in me celebrating my first greetings, besides their grand opening for Silver Birch, who happens to be a senior housing development at 5620 Soul Avenue in Hammond. And I had the opportunity this past week to go there with my seniors and do some registration and give them some refreshments and food. And one of our county councilmen was very instrumental in that, and he's here. Smith, Brazil, and Warner Funeral Home with Oak Street Health was very instrumental, and as well as Councilman Dave Ham. So I certainly appreciate your efforts, and Councilwoman Benes attended as well. So I really appreciate your efforts in being concerned about my district.
It was a very nice event, Councilman. Any other communications? Any other communications? Any other communications? Communications are now closed. Moving on to committee reports.
Madam President,
Yes, Councilman.
council as a whole will be bringing out 1801 and 1802.
Thank you. And as always, I would like to announce the upcoming Community and Crime Watch meetings. Community Watch at Mount Zion Pleasant View Plaza will be Wednesday, February 14th at 2 p.m. Edison Community Watch on the Road will be Friday, February 16th, 1 p.m. at the Golden Manor Senior Apartments. Hessville Crime Watch will meet Thursday, February 15th, 7 p.m. at the Jean Shepherd Center. Lafayette Neighborhood Watch will meet Wednesday, February 21st at Lafayette School. That begins at 6:30 p.m. And the South Hammond Crime Watch will meet Thursday, February 15th at the Old Hammond Housing Authority building. It is now the new home of Legal Aid. That is on 173rd and Chestnut. As always, I recommend that everyone try to attend a community or crime watch meeting. You will find out a lot of information about what's going on in your neighborhood and the city as a whole, because community is not just about me, it's about us. Thank you. Committee reports is now closed. Moving on to ordinance, third and final reading.
Ordinance 18-01, sponsored by Councilman Warple. And ordinance, amending ordinance 6066 and ordinance 8435, also known as section 150.070 of the Hammond Municipal Code as it pertains to emergency board-ups in Hammond.
Madam President,
Yes, Councilman Warple.
move for final passage and adoption of ordinance 1801.
Second.
Motion by Councilman Warple, second by Councilman Higgs for final passage of ordinance number 1801. Any discussion? Any discussion? Any discussion? Clerk Golick, roll call vote, please.
Markovich.
Yes.
Spitali.
Yes.
Kalwinski. Torres.
Yes.
Higgs.
Yes.
Emerson.
Yes.
Warple.
Yes.
Rakels.
Yes.
Vines.
Yes. 1801 passes, 8 in favor, 1 absent.
Ordinance 18-02, sponsored by Councilman Spitali. An ordinance creating a new section of Title III, Chapter 32, pertaining to the use of confidential funds by the Hammond Police Department.
Madam President,
Yes, Councilman Spitali.
for final passage of 1802.
Second.
Motion by Councilman Spitali, second by Councilman Emerson for final passage of 1802. Any discussion?
Madam President,
Yes, Councilman.
this is a separate fund. The money is in the police department's budget. But the State Board of Accounts said the ordinance should be passed allowing this type of program.
Any other discussion? Any other discussion? Any discussion? Clerk Golick, roll call vote, please.
Markovich.
Yes.
Spitali.
Yes.
Kalwinski. Torres.
Yes.
Higgs.
Yes.
Emerson.
Yes.
Warple.
Yes.
Rakels.
Yes.
Vines.
Yes. 1802 passes, 8 in favor, 1 absent.
President Vines, that concludes the ordinances for final passage.
Thank you, Clerk Golick. Moving on to introduction of ordinances.
Item A, ordinance 18-03, sponsored by Councilman Higgs. An ordinance designating the 400 and 500 blocks of Waltham as a one-way street, westbound, and repealing any ordinance in conflict.
Madam President,
Yes, Yes, Councilman Higgs.
I move ordinance 1803 on first and second reading by title and refer to council as a whole. I so move.
Motion by Councilman Higgs, second by Councilman Spitali, for first and second reading of 1803, referred to council as a whole with a committee meeting on February 26th. The time, Councilman?
Whatever time you said, I was hoping we can get this passed tonight. I was going to suspend the rules, but our city engineer is here, so he certainly can come up to the podium and tell me the urgency of getting this passed. I do have this street under construction for the year of 2018, lighting.
I would just say that it was found that the street was posted as a one-way street and has been for some time, and it's in conflict with the current ordinance. So we're just asking that this street be adopted as a designated by ordinance a one-way street for the 400, 500 blocks of Waltham westbound.
Is it urgent that we pass this
No, ma'am,
this
it's not.
evening?
It's not urgent.
Okay,
There's no urgency, so.
okay. Councilman, your pleasure?
It's fine with me if there's no urgency. I know that it's on the list for construction this year for lighting, but it's no big deal. If it's okay with him, it's okay with me. As long as it gets done this year. That's my
Alrighty.
issue.
Madam President, if I may,
Yes.
police can't enforce it unless it is. Councilman Torres will tell you that, and so will Lieutenant Bunner. But the police can't enforce it unless you do pass it by ordinance, so I think it would be in the councilman's best interest to get it done. I understand that. Otherwise, if it's violated, they can't write a ticket until councilman's ordinance is passed.
Okay. Councilman, your pleasure.
It's fine with me. We can suspend the rules and pass it.
I make a motion to suspend the rules.
Well, one moment, please.
Oh.
There's a motion on the floor for
That's
first
for
and
wedding
second reading of 1803. So do you just want to do first and second reading and no committee meeting? Is that,
It's not necessary, Madam President. It's first and second reading. We can pass it on first and second reading, then suspend the rules and do it on third and final.
thank you very much. Is there a second?
Second.
Motion by Councilman Higgs, second by Councilman Torres for first and second reading of 1803. Did I say second by Councilman Torres? Okay. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Now we can suspend the rules.
I'll make a motion to suspend the rules to consider
You want to do
final
that right
passage and
now?
adoption of
Okay.
1803.
Okay.
Second.
Motion by Councilman Warple, second by Councilman Higgs to suspend the rules, to consider 1803. Any discussion? Any discussion? Clerk Golick, roll call vote, please.
Markovich.
Yes.
Spitali.
Yes.
Kalwinski. Torres.
Yes.
Higgs.
Yes.
Emerson.
Yes.
Warple.
Yes.
Rakels.
Yes.
Vines.
Yes. Motion passes, 8 in favor, 1 opposed. One absent, I'm sorry. Councilman Higgs?
Madam President,
Yes, Councilman
I
Higgs.
make a motion that we pass ordinance 1803 on third and final. I so move.
Second.
Motion by Councilman Higgs, second by Councilman Rakos for final passage of 1803. Any discussion? Any discussion? Any discussion? Clerk Golick, roll call vote, please.
Markovich.
Yes.
Spitali.
Yes.
Kalwinski. Torres.
Yes.
Higgs.
Yes.
Emerson.
Yes.
Warple.
Yes.
Rakels.
Yes.
Vines.
Yes. 1803 passes, 8 in favor, 1 absent.
President Vines, that concludes the introduction of ordinances.
Thank you very much, Clerk Golick. I need a,
Madam President,
yes, Councilman?
I make a motion that we go back to the regular order of business. I so move.
Second.
Motion by Councilman Higgs, second by Councilman Warple to return to the regular order of business. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. We are moving on to resolutions.
Item A, Resolution 18R-05, sponsored by Councilman Higgs. a resolution in support of deferred action for childhood arrivals, DACA legislation.
Madam President,
Yes, Councilman Higgs.
I'd like to have that 18R05 read in its entirety. I so move.
Clerk Golick, would you mind? Thank you.
Whereas the Deferred Action for Childhood Arrivals program, known as DACA, was created through an executive action signed by President Barack Obama in August 2012, and whereas DACA gives unauthorized immigrants who came to the United States before 16 years of age, known as Dreamers, a chance to stay in the United States to study or work, provided that they meet certain conditions, such as being enrolled in high school or having a high school degree or equivalent, and not having a serious criminal conviction. And whereas many immigrant parents brought their family to the United States to provide them with greater opportunities for access to the American dream. And whereas nearly 700,000 young unauthorized immigrants have received work permits and deportation relief through the federal government DACA's program, and whereas the United States Supreme Court's decision in Filer versus Doe in 1982 held that all resident children are entitled to education in the public schools, and that it is unconstitutional to deny a free public education to children who are not illegally admitted into the United States. And whereas state law and federal law provide that a child's enrollment in public school may not be conditioned on the child's citizenship or immigration status. And whereas public schools cannot and should not ignore regarding the immigration status of a student or the student's parents, guardians, as part of the admission process. And whereas those approved for the program are given a work permit and protection from deportation for 2 years, and that these benefits can be renewed. And whereas Indiana has approximately 9,840 DACA recipients out of nearly 790,000, and excuse me, whereas immigrants have accounted for 27% of Indiana's population growth between 2000 and 2015, according to a report by Emily Warnell, an assistant professor with Ball State University's Indiana Communities Institute. She found 320 to 326,000 immigrants have come to the state over that 15-year period. And whereas DACA is popular with the public and enjoys the support of employers, educators, community leaders, and elected officials from both parties. According to a Morning Council and political poll in April 2017, 78% of American voters support giving Dreamers the chance to stay permanently in America. And whereas Indiana has nearly 1.8 million immigrants as of 2013, according to the Migration Policy Institute. Regardless of their immigration status, they deserve equal protection under the law. Now, therefore be it resolved by the Common Council of the City of Hammond as follows. 1. The Common Council condemns the recession of the DACA program by the President of the United States. 2. The Common Council urges the President to stand by those who were brought to this country as children and to whom the United States is the only country they know. 3. The Common Council supports a comprehensive and workable approach to solve the nation's historically broken immigration system. 4. The Common Council calls upon the Congress of the United States to take affirmative action towards the development of a bipartisan version of DACA that provides a pathway to citizenship. 5. The City Clerk of the City of Hammond shall transmit copies of this resolution to the President and Vice President of the United States, to the Speaker of the U.S. House of Representatives, and to its Minority Leader, to the Majority and Minority Leaders of the U.S. Senate, to the Senators and Representatives from the State of Indiana in Congress, to the Governor of Indiana, and to State Senators and State Representatives from Lake County in the Indiana General Assembly.
Madam President,
Yes, Councilman Higgs.
I move for final passage of ordinance resolution 18R05. I so move.
Motion by Councilman Higgs. Is there a second? Is there a second? Is there a second? Motion fails for lack of a second.
Item B. Resolution 18R-06. A resolution authorizing approval of development agreement.
Madam President,
Yes, Councilman Rakos.
I move for passage and adoption of 18R06.
Motion by Councilman Rakos, second by Councilman Spitali for final passage of Resolution 18R06. Any discussion?
Madam President,
Yes, Councilman
this
Rakos.
is the resolution that is required for us to pass regarding an agreement made with the City of Hammond, the Redevelopment Commission, and Hammond Economic Development Commission with ATG Real Estate Development, who, under this agreement, will acquire real estate located in the Gateway Economic Area of the City of Hammond. Basically, it is a 4.4 acre lot, the last one at Oxbow Landing. It'll be developed by ATG Real Estate Development, LLC, who also built the other Class A office building at 2929 Carlson Drive. Their investment is $8 million with a $1.7 million incentive from the city. It's approximately a 36,000 square foot office building to mirror the one at 2929 Carlson with 4 outlets totaling approximately 12,000, 18,000 square foot of restaurant or retail space. And this should be substantially completed by July 1st, 2019, with construction to begin in May of this year.
Any other discussion? Any discussion? Any discussion?
Madam
Go.
President,
Yes, Councilman Higgs.
I'd just like to say that particular development area is very nice, and it's one of the areas that's been redeveloped in the Hessville section, or in that particular area off the expressway, and certainly I would hope that other areas in the city, particularly where Walmart is and Stardust has been vacant for a number of years, if we can get some development over there, rehab or something, it would be greatly appreciated. That's all I have to say.
Thank you, Councilman Higgs. Any other discussion? Any other discussion? Any other discussion? Clerk Golick, roll call vote, please.
Markovich.
Yes.
Spitali.
Yes.
Kalwinski. Torres.
Yes.
Higgs.
Yes.
Emerson.
Yes.
Warple.
Yes.
Rakels.
Yes.
Vines.
Yes. 18R06 passes, 8 in favor, 1 absent.
Item C, Resolution 18R07, sponsored by Councilwoman Vines. A resolution appointing Bonnie Henry to serve as a member of the Hammond Community Corporation Incorporated.
Madam President,
Yes, Councilman Higgs.
I move that resolution 18R07 be passed. I so move.
Second.
Motion by Councilman Higgs, second by Councilman Spitali for final passage of 18R06, 7. Any discussion? Any discussion? Any discussion? Clerk Golick, roll call vote, please.
Markovich.
Yes.
Spitali.
Yes.
Kalwinski. Torres.
Yes.
Higgs.
Yes.
Emerson.
Yes.
Warple.
Yes.
Rakels.
Yes.
Vines.
Yes. 18R07 passes, 8 in favor, 1 absent.
Item D, Resolution 18R-08, sponsored by Councilwoman Vines. A resolution appointing Sean Madrano to serve as a member of the Hammond Community Corporation Incorporated.
Madam President,
Councilman Higgs.
I move that resolution 18R08 be moved for final passage. I so move.
Motion by Councilman Higgs, second by Councilman Spitali for final passage of 18R08. Any discussion? Any discussion? Any discussion? Clerk Golick, roll call vote, please.
Markovich.
Yes.
Spitali.
Yes.
Kalwinski. Torres.
Yes.
Higgs.
Yes.
Emerson.
Yes.
Warple.
Yes.
Rakels.
Yes.
Vines.
Yes. 18R08 passes, 8 in favor, 1 absent.
Item E, Resolution 18R-09, sponsored by Councilwoman Vines. A resolution appointing Amy Radolik to serve as a member of the Hammond Community Corporation Incorporated.
Madam President,
Yes, Councilman Higgs.
I move that we pass resolution 18R09 on its third and final. So move.
Motion by Councilman Higgs, second by Councilman Spitali for final passage of 18R09. Any discussion? Any discussion? Any discussion? Clerk Golick, roll call vote, please.
Markovich.
Yes.
Spitali.
Yes.
Kalwinski. Torres.
Yes.
Higgs.
Yes.
Emerson.
Yes.
Warple.
Yes.
Rakels.
Yes.
Vines.
Yes. 18R09 passes, 8 in favor, 1 absent.
President Vines, that concludes the reading of the resolutions.
Thank you, Clerk Golick. Moving on to new and unfinished business.
Madam President,
Yes, Councilman Higgs.
over the past week, one business was robbed in my particular district, so I'm asking for increased police presence for the Family Dollar on Seoul Avenue. So I'm requesting a letter be sent to the Chief of Police Office in regards to mobile police presence in that particular area. I so move.
Motion by Councilman Higgs. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Councilman Torres for a letter to be sent to the police department for additional patrols at Family Dollar on Seoul. Any discussion? Any discussion? Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Any other new and unfinished business?
Madam President.
Yes, Councilman.
I would like to thank the street department during our recent sprinkling of snow.
the last 4 days or so. It was nice to see neighbors working together. I did get a few calls regarding, you know, the plowing in driveways. Hammond's an old city, and not everybody has driveways, so you leave your car there, it's likely to get plowed in. But I think by and large, people worked real well, and we hope that that's the end of the snow for the year.
Thank you, Councilman Emerson, and yes, they did do a great job. Any other new and unfinished business? Any other new and unfinished business? I would like to remind everybody that Saturday night is 219 Day at the Hammond Civic Center. Come out and enjoy our celebration of our area code 219. Any other new and unfinished business? New and unfinished business is now closed. Moving on to public expression. The first speaker of the evening is David Turpin, Jr. You will have 3 minutes, sir, if you would give your name and address for the record.
David Turpin, Jr., 7414 Howard Avenue, Hammond, Indiana. Good evening, persons of the council. Two things I want to say. One, I was in the last meeting hoping to hear the
Excuse me, sir, can you speak in the mic because people are having this?
I was in a meeting, the last council meeting, and I was hoping to hear the resolution presented by Councilperson Higgs this evening, presented then, and now I'm disappointed to see that the council here has smothered, in effect, not even allowed to come to a vote, a resolution that's urgently needed as a declaration of support for the human rights of our youth who are denied those rights and the dreamers, and I think that that's a shameful thing to have happened. The other thing that I want to say is that I heard while I was in that last meeting that there's still no progress on the pool at the Hammond High School. I'm an electrical engineer from Purdue University, and I briefly worked at ArcelorMittal, and I would be willing to work with the city of Hammond to attempt to gather resources, be it either technical support, some of which I can provide from my own professional experience, and also possibly liaison and work with ArcelorMittal to see if maybe they could provide some cash to help repair the pool at Hammond High. I put myself at your disposition.
Thank you, sir. Next speaker is Sean Madrano. Your name and address, please, for the record.
Hi, Sean Madrano, 5838 Erie Avenue. Not really sure how to start this off. My concern is the appearance of the 3rd District going down Calumet Avenue and Columbia Avenue. There are certain spots that are an eyesore to travelers going down Calumet Avenue and Columbia Avenue. One of them being, I believe it's Highland and Columbia. There's a little area there that looks like abandoned buildings back in that neighborhood there. Me and my son were walking in the neighborhood, and we seen abandoned buildings and weeds everywhere, and also going down Calumet Avenue. It's just an eyesore going there, and I was just wondering if there was anything or anyone in the process of addressing that issue. On Kenwood and Calumet, I don't know what the building is, but there is an engine sitting in the parking lot. There used to be cars there. They are no longer there. I'm sure it's hard to see now because of all the snow. But there are some eyesores that I would like to see if anybody would, like to address or take care of. That's all I have to say. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. The next speaker is Carl Wolf. Carl Wolf. Carl Wolf. Okay, moving on to Arlene Mitchell Pearson. Your name and address, please, for the record.
Sure. Arlene Pearson, Maryville, Indiana. I'm representing the organization Delta Sigma Theta Sorority. Okay? All right. Thank you for having us, first of all. Just want to do a brief introduction about our organization, and then I'm going to have the follow-up with our Political Awareness Chair, Tamara Young King. Delta Sigma Theta Sorority is a not-for-profit Greek letter sorority of college-educated women dedicated to public service with an emphasis on programs that target the African American community.
Yay.
Yay! With the sisterhood of more than 300,000 initiated members who are predominantly black college-educated women, the sorority currently has over 940 chapters, a lot of them out of the country. The first public act of Delta Sigma Theta was participating in the Women's Suffrage March in Washington, D.C. on March 3rd, 1913. With the sisterhood, as I mentioned, over 300,000 members, we are proud of what we have accomplished, not only throughout our organization, but here in the Northwest Indiana area. I am president of the Gary Alumni Chapter, which covers the Lake, Porter, and LaPorte County of Northwest Indiana. Just a tidbit of what we do as an organization. Now I'm going to have Tamara Young-King talk about what we do within the community.
Good evening, Madam President, council members. Again, my name is Tamara Young-King, and I'm the Social Action and Political Awareness Chair for Gary Alumni Chapter of Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated. As our president so eloquently spoke, we have a large membership, and here within Northwest Indiana, we as an organization manage and maintain our outreach and public service to Lake Porter and LaPorte counties. And an example of what we do, last year in gearing up for the election cycle from spring to fall, we registered over 1,026 high school students within Lake Porter and LaPorte County. So those were high school seniors either in their spring or fall semester preparing to go off to college or finish their high school careers. But that was Bishop Noel, Hammond High, Hammond Morton. So we were actively in your communities, and we will continue to do so. This is our first Delta Days at Hammond City Hall. We met with them. We've spoken to the mayor, and we're here now presenting ourselves as an advocate, as an assistance to the city of Hammond. We reach out to your voters through various programs. Political awareness is only one, but we wanted the electorate, the elected officials, to know that we are a resource. As our president so eloquently spoke, our first act of public service and political awareness was the Women's Suffrage March. And when that was reenacted in 2013, we participated again as well. As you know, in 1913, we weren't acknowledged, nor were we legitimately on the roster as a participant, but we had our banners, we marched to make sure that when the time came, black women too would be able to vote. And now that's black women, brown women, red women, whomever, but to make sure that there's always a voice. Our real goal here is to make sure that we begin establishing a relationship. We've been in your communities, we've knocked on doors, we've made phone calls, trying to explain the importance of utilizing your voice. In 2018, we all know this is a huge midterm election, and it's important that voters are registered, but also that they're educated. And so we've held countless education forums to raise awareness of the importance of education, of voting, the issues that are at hand, and how we can help advocate for those things. We are very excited to begin fostering a relationship with the electorate and with these elected officials here in Hammond. We've spoken to the mayor, as I said, and we've spoken to many people within your organization here at City Hall so that we can pursue other avenues. Later in the spring, we'll be having a State of the State for Lake County, where all of the elected state officials can come out and voice their concerns about statewide activities. And we would love for you to all come. That will be in Crown Point at the county seat at the Civic Center. And as soon as we have an exact date, we will certainly let you know so that any issues you may have, you can take to the state level, and then we could possibly see them on to the federal level if it's of that nature. So, in conclusion, we actively use our influence toward the enactment of laws for the protection of the unfortunate and weak, and for the repeal of those depriving human beings of their privileges and rights. We work tirelessly to make sure that the constituency, your constituency, is educated, alert, and aware, and that they use their rights, their God-given, constitutionally given rights, to activate their voice. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
And just want to say, this will not be our last time meeting with you all. We do have members here, if you don't mind, if they could stand, please. We will see you again, and thank you for this opportunity to stand up and speak before you. Thank you.
Thank you for joining us this evening. The next speaker is Arlene Mitchell-Pearson. Oh, that was you, okay, I'm sorry. Okay, Anthony Hammond? Name and address for the record, please, sir.
Good evening, Madam President and City Council. My name is Anthony Hammond, and I'm a Hammond resident of 1127 Moore Street. My concern tonight, this is the first time that I've ever been to a council meeting, and the first time I got to see for myself how things are operated. And what I want to say to the City Council is that in a residential area, and the gentleman here spoke about the snow removal, it was a good job, but I think it could be a better job done. The main streets were very clear, but the side streets and residential streets were awful. And it was awful due to the fact that a lot of people weren't aware of when the snow plows were going to come, the time, or how they were going to act within the measure of removing the snow from the side streets. And I had spoke to a few neighbors, and I had came up with a plan to, kind of help the city, the streets and sanitation department. I know they're probably responsible in that area for putting out the horses, the barricade signs where it says no parking. I just believe I have a better plan for such a demonstration of the amount of snow that we've incurred over the last few days that will make it easier for the street people or the plow drivers to do their job. What I would like to impose is to find out how can we as the residents or the people in the neighborhood get together with a program set forth to make it easier for this job to be done. Because a lot of cars did get blocked in, and me, myself, I spent 2 or 3 hours moving snow back out of the way once the plow came down the street. And I, don't see that happening too often. I'm 50 years old now, and it's a lot of snow to move when the plow then came down your street and pushed it right back where you moved it from. What I would like to suggest to the council is information on and who we can be in contact with to get this plan implemented. My plan is when the plows are going to come through the residential neighborhoods, that those barricade signs be put out either a day before the plows are going to come or the evening before they're going to come, so that the residents can move the vehicles to one side of the street. Then the plows can easily come down the street and move the snow. Once one side is clear, then everybody can move their cars to the opposite side of the street, and the signs will be placed on the opposite side so people don't park on the opposite side of the street, and the plow can come down that side. Without signs or without any notice to the community, it makes it hard. Because what happens is once the snow has set, people kind of park in such a way that the plows can't even come down the street. So that's pretty much what I wanted to try to suggest to the city council, and if you can give me or provide some type of information on who to contact to get this, started for the next time that we get snow, because we probably be getting some more, that it would make it a lot easier for those people to do their job if the citizens know that the plows are coming and how to position their vehicles so that the plows can correctly come down the street. And if there are any abandoned cars, then the Hammond police can tow them, but giving people prior notice so that they have time to move the vehicles.
Thank
And I
you,
think
sir.
that would be a very plan that can be implemented. It's not nothing difficult to do that. So it's a simple suggestion.
Thank you very much. The next speaker is J.D. Richmond.
Good evening, everyone. I'm just going to reiterate what my neighbor said. I was out there
Your
helping.
name, sir, your name and
my name
address
is
for the record.
J.D.
please.
Richmond. I live at 1121 Moore Street, Hammond, Indiana.
Thank you.
Okay, I I've been in the area for about 15 years, never come to one of these meetings because you guys been doing a good job. But the only reason I'm coming out tonight because I shoveled all night. So I just want to let you guys know that, hey, if any kind of way you could let us know when the snowplow come through the area, that we can move the cars. Because I work from 6 at night to 6 in the morning, and I want to try to, be neighborly and move my car out the way so the truck plow can come through so we can have a better, driving through the neighborhood and parking our cars. So I just want to let you guys know that other than that, you guys been doing a good job, so you ain't seen me, so that's why. And
Thank
I just,
you.
problem with the snow, that was it.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
The next speaker is...
That's my wife, she's gonna come and report.
Oh, okay,
She's back.
okay. And the last speaker of the evening, George Stoya.
George Story, Robertsdale. I just wanted to chime in with the plowing factor. For years, I've complained to the streets department, and every year they've told me, okay, we understand, because people are getting plowed in, and they've told me point blank, the mayor's told me point blank, I've called this show on the radio, that they can cock these blades in such a fashion, I call it feathering, that they don't leave these large wakes that end up behind your car. And they can also find better places to finally dump the snow. And for some reason, I guess they got new drivers every year or something like that. It's almost like you have to reinvent the wheel and go through all this rigmarole. I like the other gentleman, I spent a couple hours shoveling out my car. And when I did what's that, Hammond 311, I did it before and after. And the good people at the street department told me, well, something about an emergency. I said, I thought it was BS. That there was no sense in, that said that they had to have it clear that way for emergencies. And I says, well, that has nothing to do with plowing cars in. What's the point of clearing the street if the cars you have, and you can't get access to the streets? So I don't know what's going on. There was a certain arrogance in the way they were very curt in how they responded to the 311 complaint, just unilaterally dismissing it as this case is closed. And I said, like hell, it's closed. No way. And I think that's just abysmal. I mean, I know they're under a gun, I know they're under pressure, but there's no advance warning. And even like the gentleman said before me, what if you work? What if you don't have a garage to put your car someplace? What do you do then? I mean, not everybody can move their car. The idea is, they've done it before. Mr. Gleason, I remember seeing at a mayor's night out, complaining about it, and he talked to me afterwards and said, look, we'll get these guys to feather that blade in such a way that the wake will be minimal, or minimized at the very least. That's all. But it's a decent complaint.
Madam President.
Thank you. Councilman, public expression is now closed.
Madam President.
Councilman Higgs.
I make a motion that we go back to the regular order of business. I so move.
Motion by Councilman Higgs. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Councilman Torres to return to the regular order of business. Any discussion? Any discussion? Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
No.
Clerk Golick, roll call vote, please.
Markovich.
Yes.
Spitali. Yes. Kalwinski. Torres.
Yes.
Hicks.
Yes.
Emerson.
Yes.
Warple.
Yes.
Rakels.
No.
Vines.
Yes. Motion carries 7 in favor, 1 opposed, 1 absent.
Madam President.
Yes, Councilman.
First and foremost, I want to thank the sorority sisters for coming out. I happen to be the only African-American elected official in the city of Hammond. This is my 4th term, and I do what I can, when I can, for all the citizens of this great city. One of the events that I currently do is a 3-on-3 tournament where I give away bicycles to any kid that comes to the park, and they ride out. And also we do a back to school every summer where we give the kids school supplies. And then I do something with my seniors, is a Thanksgiving dinner annually. So certainly if you guys want to participate and be actively involved in it, you're more than welcome to do so. Secondly, just to respond to the gentleman in the vehicles in the abandoned properties, that's something that I stay on top of constantly. and there were 2 vehicles in the property on Kenwood and Calumet. 2 cars that were parked there, the police department did remove them. Now there is a engine sitting on that property. I think someone lives in the building, I have no idea. But I don't work for code enforcement. All I can do is refer these complaints to them. It's a constant thing. There are properties that are abandoned, whether it's weeds, whatever it is, abandoned vehicles that sit for 2 and 3 months or 6 months or to a year. I report it all. I constantly ride through my district, whether spring, summer, and fall, looking for issues to address. And I submit them on a regular basis. I think my colleagues can attest to that. I send letters. Thirdly, to my neighbors, thank you for coming out this evening, and certainly I understand and sympathize with you in regards to the snow removal. Not only your vehicles were shoveled in, but there were a number of vehicles as well, but I tried to assist as well as I could in regards to addressing those concerns. So thank you again.
Madam President,
Yes, Councilman Warple.
I want to address a couple of issues that I heard during public expression, and number one was the word shameful was used over a resolution that says we're against something that everybody on this council, I think, agrees with, which is DACA. If you look at your claims, I see 67 CDBG payments we're making, which are federal dollars. We asked in caucus of the attorneys, could the federal government withhold our money? And the response was, who knows what the federal government's going to do? What I find shameful is for me to do the easy thing and say, yeah, I'll second that, and I'll grandstand and I'll vote for that. I'm glad the sorority's here because I've been city chairman for 8 years. And for 8 years, I've tried and tried and tried and tried to register voters. And our voter turnout is shameful. That's what's shameful. We can sit here and we can send a resolution somewhere that says, yeah, we're against this too. What's shameful is not voting. As far as the snowplows go, I know people that snowplow. I know of one that got hit yesterday by a resident, punched. I know where there were snow shovels thrown at snowplows. You ain't living until you're in a 200-pound post office truck and you're stuck in a parkway. Talk about frustration in trying to drive in this. My question is, where's the snow going to go? Where are they going to put it? I get what everybody's saying. It's a little bit different when it snows during the week and people are at work and the cars are off the street. It's easy to plow snow that way. When we have snows on the weekend, everybody's patience are going to be worn thin. And everybody's going to be frustrated. And you're going to go out there and you're going to dig your car out, and the plow's going to come down the street because those cars are there because the snowstorm happens to fall on a weekend. But when I hear stories of snow shovels being thrown at snowplows and one guy getting punched, they're just doing their job. Whether we have a better plan or whatever, that can be discussed for later, but I think those guys did the best they could with the circumstances they had to work with. That's all I got to say.
Madam President,
Councilman Higgs.
I mean, that could be a twofold, Councilman Warple, in regards to saying shameful, because sitting on this council, I have been addressed in some ways that I didn't agree with, neither that I appreciate. And I truly was offended by some of the actions, but how a person feels, that's under their own discretion, and only God will judge in the end. But the reality of it is that I'm for all people and the human rights of equal rights of every individual. I don't care if you white, purple, blue, or green. Everybody should be treated equally in that respect. And so that was the purpose of supporting this particular resolution. And I will continue to fight as long as I have the ability and God gives me strength to fight for what's right. And it's up to each and every one of you to do what's right. I can't force you, neither make you vote on anything. All I can do is address my concerns to the citizens in which I represent in the 3rd District and the citizens of this great city and move forward. I'm for what's right. Thank you, Lord, for giving me guidance and direction. That's all I have to say.
Madam President,
Yes, Councilman Warfield.
I agree with him, but when I look at 67 federal grants on just this claim form alone, and our attorneys tell us, who knows what this guy might do if we pass this? I think it's my responsibility to protect the taxpayer dollars in that situation is all I'm saying. I'm not disrespecting what the councilman's resolution or whatever. But I don't know how many more times I gotta say it. The only thing they're gonna understand in Washington is when people start voting. That's all I got to say.
Thank you.
Madam President,
Yes, Councilman.
when it comes to voting, I can guarantee you I've probably registered more citizens than the average precinct committeeman throughout the whole Lake County, and I have copies to attest to that. And it's a constant thing, not just at election time. I'm out there 365 days a year registering. If you move in, someone moves in my district, or whether it's a senior high rise or wherever throughout the city that I can be available or assistance in terms of getting residents registered, I do it. And I have copies to attest to that. So it's not a story I'm making up. But the reality of it is very important that you execute and educate the community on the issues, and it's very important that you get out and vote. Because if you don't vote, you have no voice. That's it.
Any other new and unfinished business? Any other new and unfinished business?
Madam President.
Councilman Higgs.
And that particular resolution was passed through the county council that was introduced to this council and passed. So it's not like it's not familiar with Lake County. It's been passed by the county council, and one of our county council members is here. And also what was discussed in the caucus was that there was no intentions of trying to jeopardize our federal funding, and I don't think in any way possible that our funding will be touched if this particular resolution is passed. If so, I would think that we have attorneys that are capable of filing a lawsuit and stopping any partisanship in regards to the president or anyone in D.C. saying, hey, we're going to start snatching money from cities and towns because they support a particular resolution. It makes no sense. All you're simply saying is that I believe that this is what's right, and that's why I'm voting for it. Simple.
Any other new and unfinished business? Any other new and unfinished business? Any other new and unfinished business?
Madam President,
Yes,
I
Councilman.
make a motion, we go back to the regular order of business?
New and unfinished business is now closed. There's a motion on the floor to return to the regular order of business.
Second.
A motion by Councilman Rakos, second by Councilman Higgs to return to the regular order of business. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Motion to adjourn? Motion by Councilman Spitali.
Madam President.
There's a motion
Second.
on the floor. Second by Councilman Warple. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Everyone have a good evening.